Is that a done deal, or we're just like supposed to get him?
It's presumed.
Okay.
I mean, they interviewed him live from Paris yesterday, and they're like, "How do you feel about going to the Spurs?"
Yeah.
I mean, everyone thinks for sure that he'll be the number one pick.
He's a French guy?
Yeah, gigantic French guy.
Yeah.
And he's 19 years old. So,
wow. He sounds like Tony Parker.
yeah.
He's the next Tony Parker.
He, like, you could see, like, how excited he was to see the Spurs get the number one pick because Frank, loves the Spurs from Tony and Boris Diaw. So nice. I was pretty pumped last night.
Nice. Do you think he's going to like breakfast tacos though?
He needs a little meat on his bones. So,
so we'll be sitting him down at Las Palapas.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Some churros and some puffy tacos and some breakfast tacos. Yeah.
It's so funny. Like, so obviously Bill's from Jersey, right? And now that he lives in Austin, whenever we go back to his place, he's like, I don't understand. Why aren't there any breakfast tacos here? Why aren't there breakfast tacos everywhere? And I'm like, exactly. Why aren't there breakfast tacos everywhere? Right? It's just...
It's the best breakfast meal.
It is, because it's just like, it lets the ingredients shine, right? I mean, like everything is basically a sandwich, but you don't want the bread to overpower the fillings.
No, you just need a good tortilla, and then it's so simple. Bacon and egg, bean and cheese, chorizo and egg.
Seriously, it's not rocket science. So anyhow. Hello, Carrie. How are you?
How are you, Jen?
Good. How are you? I love your hair. It's great.
Hi, Jordan.
Hi, Carrie. How's it going?
Just market visits or?
Sam, Lion CEO is in town. So the whole executive team's here doing some strategy work.
Cool. Well, thank you for making time for us. I
was going to just say, thanks for being flexible. We had like our kickoff meeting, like the start of it was right at the same time. And I was like, oh no, I really want to hang out with Jen and Jordan.
Yeah.
How do we make this work?
Well, thank you for that.
You. Yeah.
Totally. We were just talking about our favorite Bell's beers. We all have history with Bell's. So,
I would love to hear that story. Jordan, how about you first?
Yeah.
I said to Jen, Oberon is my jam. I love Oberon. Right. And I can't wait to try the new variety pack. I knew cherry.
We'll get that to you. We'll get that to you. You should try it. It's real good.
I knew cherry was going to be in there, but the mango habanero and the citrus. Ooh, that sounds good.
I think the citrus is the sleeper.
Really?
Honestly, citrus may be the sleep. Cherry and mango hab are ones we've released at least locally and had really great response. So I'm not surprised by those. I think citrus may be the sleeper in there though.
Okay. So citrus was never released at the tap room?
Nope.
Okay.
Well, that's not true. We did some trial batches. So think through the R&D process, we released a little bit, but we've never, both mango hub and cherry have been packaged and at least released at our store. Citrus is not.
They sound great. I'm sure they're going to crush. My favorite is Two Hearted. And I used to live in Indianapolis. So of course, Two Hearted was like water. It was everywhere. Right. But I had no idea. It's like 7 or 7.4. Like it's higher octane than you think. And I was playing a drinking game with it. I don't know if you can say that anymore, but I was, and I was like, that's how I figured out how high ABV it was.
Yeah. But it's such a really drinkable. I think that's kind of the classic, right? Like it's such a drinkable IPA. Hop Slams falls a little bit in that category too. Both of those will get you in trouble, Jen. Like if you're not careful.
Oh, I know. I love Hop Slam too, of course. Can't get it year round. That's probably a good thing for me. It is a treat. But let me give you a formal introduction. So Carrie, welcome to BeerNet Radio, where allegedly all your dreams come true. We've missed that one for a couple of episodes. Anyway, for those who don't know, Carrie is Bell's executive vice president, has been there for decades for Michigan-based brewery that did about 450,000 barrels last year. And of course, worked its way into the new Belgium system after that deal. There's lots of new news for you guys. We're just talking about some of the new packages. And you just recently opened up a few new markets in the Pac Northwest. So you're now in about 49 states. So welcome, Carrie. Thank you for being here.
Really happy to be here, team. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thank you for being here. So let's start with the hard hitters, shall we? Because I know you got to get back to it since Lion is in town.
I'm ready.
Yeah. So last time that you guys chatted, I think you guys were the ones who chatted last. You said Bell's was eyeing a growth year this year. Is that still the case? And if so, what are the drivers?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're going to we're going to buck the craft trends. If you're looking at most recent sort of 4-week Nielsen data, we're doing really well. I mean, we were like 16 points above the sort of negative 3% craft trend in the most latest 4 weeks. We're starting to settle down, right? The distributor integration piece is settled down. Some of that noise is settling down. You're seeing some of the results of marketing campaigns and greater marketing investments and brands like beloved brands like Two Hearted and Oberon, for example, playing with those brand families with variety packs to give more consumer options there. So we're going to see that. If you take, for example, Hop Slam, which really just makes for funky comps because we moved when Hop Slam is, as we were talking about, Hop Slam's meant to be enjoyed in the season of indulgence, which is really the holidays. So we moved that last year, but if you take Hop Slam out of the numbers, we're up about 3% through the end of May right now.
Nice.
Okay.
Jen, we lose you?
Is everybody back? Sorry, we cut out for 1 second. So Carrie, you're there, right?
I am.
Okay, good. I lost you briefly where you said if you take out Hop Slam, you're up about 3%. What, year to date or?
Yep,
okay.
Through the end of, through the start of May, basically. Okay. We're up about 3% if you take sort of the funky Hop Slam comps out of the data.
Got it. Cool. And I did hear variety packs in there, and you did say that you expected those to be major drivers of growth this year. So how are those shaping up?
Those are on fire. We've needed to reach out to get support to co-pack those. Like we can't even keep up internally, frankly. So we're making all the beer and get some external support. So we are like over 100% over forecast consistently over the last 4 weeks. So we're really excited to see the trial that we're getting with those, in particular, as we use that as the opportunity to potentially launch standalone brands out of those variety packs.
Okay, cool. Interesting. I know Jordan wants to get in there a little bit, but why do you think variety packs are resonating so much this year with craft consumers? And B,
Jen.
I lost Jen.
Oh, back. All right. Back?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, chat edit is going to have a fun time with this. Chat edit is going to have a fun time with this. But now, so why do you think variety packs are so popular this year? A, and B, do you think you're going to be able to keep up with that supply, hopefully?
So I think variety packs are popular because you really see, in particular, your younger demographic of consumers wanting to try a bunch of new things. So the way to do that best in craft, which, as we all know, is a bit declining category and we're losing share. So the best way to get that trial is through a variety pack. If you love something like Two Hearted, you're totally willing to bet on a hazy hearted or a big hearted, for example, and that feels like a new experience that you can bring to a legacy brand. And so I think that's really part of what's driving that. And then as far as keeping up with demand, we feel really confident that we can do that. We've got CapEx plans in place. So that's part of being the benefit of a bigger family, is the ability to be able to look across the network. We just purchased Daleville, for example, certainly able to look at how do we leverage all of the resources inside of our network, both co-packing and internally, to be able to keep up with demand. I mean, we're seeing the same thing on the New Belgium side as well, right? Like, how do we keep up with demand? It's a great problem to have.
Yeah. Well, since you brought that up, I was going to ask, when I talked to you and Steve earlier this year, he said that we might have to do a little contracting, producing some of the New Belgium brands there in Comstock. Is that still going on after the Daleville transaction, or what's the plan there?
So yeah, we're still happily making Juice Force and a little bit of Imperial here. And really just the deal from a Daleville perspective just closed last week. So like our ability to really start flavor matching and doing that work there for the New Belgium team and New Belgium Brewmaster to be able to do that has just kicked off. So like our capacity in Comstock and across the network is still really needed to support the demand.
Okay, gotcha. All right. And then I wanted to jump back to variety packs. The Hearted variety pack launched late last year. And then I think Sterling said that the Oberon variety pack is just now rolling. So has the Oberon had any sales under it yet, or is it like just now hitting market?
So it just starting to ship out in the last sort of like 10 business days. We released it just a little early at our own store and we're sold out inside of 48 hours. So kind of 2 business days there. So we even had a little trouble restocking our own shelves. But we're really anticipating great demand there. It's just the perfect pack for summer. Yeah. Like you think about a Michigan, Great Lakes state of mind, like it's a really perfect pack for that. So really early on, what I will say is orders are certainly exceeding what we had anticipated. Early signs point to another strong variety pack.
Gotcha. And then you were talking about looking at some brands you might pull out of the variety pack for standalone packs. How do you kind of determine that? Is that polling, or how do you know what consumers are saying, okay, this is my favorite one in this pack? Is it just scouring through social media, or what? How does that come about?
Well, as much as us brewers have a lovely love-hate relationship with Untapped, it's certainly an important way for us to hear consumer feedback, right? Really passionate fans show up there. So you're hearing all aspects of it. So we certainly look at that. We're also looking at like what's on trend right now, across Bev Out. So in particular, you think about the Oberon pack, fruited beers are doing okay, right? Like they're able to hold their own, they're keeping pace. Again, I think that's a summer drinking state of mind from my perspective. So we'll look at consumer data. We'll look at what's on trend, certainly inside of Bev Elk. And then there's also the thing that I don't know that a lot of suppliers talk about is how hard is it to make the beer, procure the materials? Like there's an aspect of that from a COGS perspective and how you really think about that as a brewer that plays into that too. So if you've got two things that are pretty close and one of them is a whole heck of a lot easier to make or procure the ingredients for, like you've got to lean into that on the production side of things too, because we're asking a lot of those teams.
Yeah. One more for me, and then I'll kick it back over to Jen, but kind of touching on new packs, y'all introduced some 19.2s for Oberon more regionally and Hazy Hearted. Have y'all started to think about expanding those outside of the Midwest, outside of your backyard?
We're getting a lot of call to bring Hazy Hearted outside of a state that touches the Great Lake, is what I will tell you.
Okay.
We're not being as precious around 19.2s from an Oberon perspective. We've certainly got focus on that nationwide, but Hazy Hearted we intentionally launched close to home. Again, a strategy I think you'll see us continue to use as we determine what makes sense to go bigger and broader, because we're also thinking about it in the context of not just Bell's, but like our whole portfolio as well, and which consumers are we trying to reach. So Hazy Hearted, we are getting a lot of pressure to take that broader. And we just have such a strong convenience team. Our sales team is just, such a strong convenience team, best in the US without question. So it's really a wonderful opportunity. It's a place that Bell's has been sort of under-indexed prior to this marriage, and now is a really big opportunity for us. And it's priced right. Like there's all the components to a 19.2 and a convenience pack that we're leveraging our New Belgium friends for to get that right. We haven't had to sort of trip over ourselves in launching this too. And that's not lost on me.
Right. Interesting. So we've mentioned Lion and your New Belgium friends and total portfolio. And I'm curious, 2 years now, right? Or 3 years past the deal. First of all, how integrated are the companies now? Is the distribution footprint totally lined up? And I guess you guys are brewing things for each other, of course, but also how does Bell's act differently as a business now, if at all?
Yeah. So we're pretty well integrated as a team, all of our functions. So think sales, think marketing, certainly all report functionally. We are very intentional about keeping sort of the Bell's brand and the Bell's sort of voice independent. So for example, the marketing director for Bell's still reports in through me, right? As well as sort of the Sean, our CMO. And we're doing that intentionally because we believe the Bell's consumers and kind of the marketing there, along with the New Belgium consumers, are different. And most craft consumers, most are not, even if you put us next to each other on a shelf, don't understand the sort of ownership structure that sits behind that. And we're also trying to drive for different consumers. So as what I would say, as far as from a network distribution, we are about 90% aligned right now. Yeah. That was a slug. We're about 90% aligned right now. We have opened all new markets. So it's been also able to sort of, as you talk about, like, what have we done differently? We've been able to fast track some openings of new markets. Right. So we are in every single state except Hawaii at the moment. And we'll look to sort of put that feather in the cap, national brand feather in the cap by the end of the year. So it's really put us on a fast track there as well to expand our market access. And a place like the Pac Northwest is loving them some Two Hearted.
Right. I would think so. Is it like riding a bike, opening those markets, the new markets now? Is it kind of like you guys have done it a ton, New Belgium's done it a ton, or do you still get curveballs when you open a new market sometimes?
I think every market's different.
Yeah.
And learning the consumers in those markets, for me, like I very intimately understand, having worked at the brewery for so long, like what a Bell's consumer is. But that doesn't always translate in every far-flung market, the farther you get away from your brewery. And I really think suppliers need to pay attention to what's hot in that particular market, what pack sizes are there, what's your on-premise share look like, and really focus in on that as you think about launching a market and what your strategy is. I don't know that you can just copy and paste. I think from a consumer perspective, they're expecting a new brand to show up and be big. There's just so many opportunities right now that if you are not meeting the consumer where they are in their market, you're missing opportunities.
So are you saying you need to get a good lay of the land in Hawaii before opening up?
Yes, I do think I'm gonna have to go
for at least a month.
We'll take note.
Oh, that's awesome. I was curious it makes total sense, but I'm curious now that you mentioned that obviously the Bell's consumer and the New Belgium consumer aren't exactly the same. What are some of the most salient differences, do you think, between those two consumers?
Yeah, I think about, let's take Voodoo and Two Hearted, for example. It's probably the most obvious, two iconic IPAs. How are we looking at those things? How are we looking at those differently? I mean, realistically, Two Hearted is sort of the OG craft consumer. We are really looking to lean into people and consumers who are looking for good quality beer, who are looking to make sure that it's consistent every time and it's tried and true. And Voodoo has this like fun, irreverent, they're speaking to a bit of a younger demographic and an IPA drinker and really trying to make that sort of the gateway into craft. Whereas for us, Two Hearted is the IPA for a mature craft drinker, for example. So those are a good way for us to kind of talk about. And then you've got sort of craft adjacent brand, craft sort of leaning brand like Oberon, which really is taken, even as I think about who comes over and who starts to drink Oberon. Those are folks who are trying out RTDs. Those are folks who are looking at really more flavor, specifically driven from a flavor perspective. And so I think those are some things that we're really thinking about as how do we position we call them our core four, right? How do we position our core four to drive to different consumers to continue to expand our reach?
Right. No, that makes total sense. Then I have to ask, we didn't know that there was a line meeting going on. What's on the agenda for the line meeting? What can you tell us? What are you guys going to be covering the next few days? I heard you mention CapEx. Like, what's going on?
No, it is. Steve has a boss too, right? Yeah. So it's really it's a little bit of Sam's coming over. Went and met all of our new coworkers in Daleville. We welcomed them to the family, had a big company meeting yesterday. So it was really nice to bring everybody together as we continue to grow our family. So he's there for that. And then some meetings with the sort of US craft leadership team, Steve's leadership team, to talk about what our next 3 to 5 years looks like. Talk about what opportunities we really want to go after. We have momentum, and it's really important for us to make sure that we're harnessing that and utilizing that to the fullest potential.
Right. Maybe bring some more on the platform, or is that, obviously we have to ask.
Fair questions. We don't have our sights set on anything is what I would tell you. Really more around how do we define what the strategy for what we want to go after? What's complementary to the portfolio that we have? What's big enough to make sense for us now? Trying to answer some of those sort of guiding principle questions as we think about how we continue to grow.
Sure.
That Daleville facility, I think I saw a picture the other day, and I've never seen a picture of it. It looks super sleek.
Mm-hmm. It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. It's a really well-built facility with really wonderful humans working there. Yeah, it feels like a bit of a hidden gem. Like it brought on capability we didn't have before, and certainly helped to answer some short-term capacity constraints that we've been dealing with for about 6 to 12 months.
Okay, interesting. Cool. I think anything else, Jay? I mean, I think I got one more, but I think that's most of what we had to ask, right?
No, that's it for me.
Well, I can't let you off an interview in May of 2023 without asking you. Obviously, we've been covering this whole Bud Light pushback, and now it's the Miller Lite thing. And you guys are famously an ESG-centric company, which I think is a wonderful thing. But do these sort of controversies make you guys maybe rethink about how you approach anything, whether it's marketing or strategy, anything like that?
I think we're keeping a close eye on it. It's hard not to.
Sure.
I think the real important piece there as we think about our initiatives and the things that we're focused on is really about being authentic. Like, are you authentically in those communities? Are you supporting those communities with more than words? Those are things that really matter. both to folks who are going to pick up your brands for the first time and those who are going to pick up your brands for solely that reason. So I think, as we really think about it, it's about really being authentic and making sure we're embedded in those communities and supporting everyone and being open to sort of all sorts of views.
Yep. Well said. Awesome. Well, thank you, Carrie, so much. It's always great to chat with you.
Will I get to see you tomorrow, Jen, on our Alliance for Women in Beer call?
Yes, you will. You will. Absolutely. Yes. I
like a double dose of Jen in a week.
I was like, wait, am I supposed to be somewhere tomorrow besides my daughter's dentist? But yes, you absolutely will. And that's coming up fast, lady. We got to nail down those speakers, but
sure do.
Right.
Otherwise it'll be you and me.
Right. Well, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure we're getting you up there. So you're like, really? Okay. Well,
okay. We'll talk about that tomorrow, Jen.
Yeah. All right. Well, cheers. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Great having you and talk to you soon.
Yeah.
Thank you, Carrie.
Good to see both of you.
Cheers.